Hi, welcome to the room tour on the Shin Nihonkai Ferry that goes from Niigata up to Otaru. I'm going to start with a room tour, and please stay tuned at the very end for some tips on what it's like to travel on ferry in Hokkaido, or in Japan in general, up to Hokkaido, because I think it'll be good tips that were, some of them were surprises to us, and they're good to know before you travel. Welcome to the best room on the boat. This is Suite 001 on the ferry that goes from Niigata up to Otaru and Hokkaido. Come on in and let me give you a tour. As you come in, you will see this foyer that looks into the room and gives you a big sneak peek of everything that we'll be talking about soon. But before we get too far into the room, let me show you the flooring map so you can understand where we are on the boat and just the exact size of the boat itself. So we're going to be on the 6th floor, and again, we're room 001. That's going to be located on the starboard side of the boat, which is nice because that means that we're going to have, when we're going from Niigata to up to Otaru, that means that we're going to have land within our visual sight the entire time. So that is good if the boat is rough, and we actually are having pretty rough seas today. So keep that in mind that you do feel a lot of movement on the boat itself. I think being on the 6th floor higher up can also cause you to feel a little bit more movement, I'm sure. When you first walk in, right on the left-hand side, you have a nice landing area for all of your stuff, so you can see we've put that to use. We have a couple shelves and then 3 hooks, which is great for you to put your jackets on. The drawers themselves are non-opening, so decorative only, which I guess is nice. That way you don't accidentally unpack and leave things there. And then if you come to this bank of closets, I'll show you what is inside of here because there's a lot of good things that they have on offer. So in the very first closet, you'll see that this is where they have the safe under there. And this is also where in the suite you get a robe, a terry cloth robe that's a good weight. And then also pajamas that you can wear. And then the slippers were provided right as you walk in also. And the next closet is just strictly a closet where you can hide your suitcases, especially if you have larger ones, away. It does have a hanging bar, but no hangers were provided there. So just 4 hangers in the room. So keep that in mind. And the very last one is where you will find your life vest should an emergency happen and you need them. It is really interesting that when we boarded the ferry, there was no sort of safety muster or review that they went over. So there was something playing on the TV though, which was helpful, but essentially just says listen to the crew. So we'll be listening if we need to. Looking at the bed, this is set up with 2 doubles, which is the only option. So they never change this configuration. They cannot make it into what they call in Japan a Hollywood king, where they push the 2 doubles together because there is a piece of fixed furniture in the middle. So you'll want to keep that in mind. The beds themselves, while the sheets and the pillows are they feel like nice quality, you want to keep in mind that they are very firm, almost no bounce at all. In the center, they have a nice setup for plugs and then also light controls. There's other things that are on here, but we haven't been able to figure out what exactly they do or how they help us. Everything in the room is pretty much only in Japanese. Well, it'll say room 1, sofa 1, stand. It doesn't really make sense, and when you push the buttons, not a lot happens. But the nice thing is that they have the outlets, so you can set yourself up for charging overnight if you want. From the bed, they give you a very large TV that you can watch. Everything on the TV is going to be in Japanese. We're currently watching sumo because you really don't need to have too much commentary being played for that. Behind the TV is going to be the desk center where they have a nice mirror and a sturdy chair that you can use. They have a tea setup and a hot water kettle that you can use if you needed to. In here is a refrigerator. This room did come with 2 bottles of water, and that was the only thing that's in the fridge. Everything else we brought from Niigata ourselves, and I would recommend stocking up because there is a convenience store, like a souvenir shop at the ferry terminal itself, and then there's also one on the boat, but the one on the boat has really limited hours. It's only open until 15 minutes from our departure time, so from up to 11:45, and then it doesn't reopen until 4:30. So if you want to get a water, a soda, snacks, anything like that, you can't actually take advantage of that until 4:30, and then it's only open until 5:30, so you want to be on top of those times. When you first walk in, there will be a screen that you can take a photo of all of the times for dining. And then also on the TV screen, you can find an overview of the operating times of all of the restaurants that are on board and the convenience store. Here they also provide you with all of the ferry information. So this says ferry information in English. That's pretty much the only English that you're going to find in there. Everything is primarily in Japanese, and you just want to consider that. If you look over here, we have a couch, and the couch again is very firm. You probably wouldn't want to sleep on this, so if you're thinking about putting 3 people in here, it wouldn't be very comfortable. It doesn't fold out at all, and they didn't provide us with any extra linens. So while you look at pictures online, you may think, oh, we can have somebody crash on this couch. It wouldn't be a great or easy night's sleep, that's for sure. On this table, you're going to find 3 remote controls. The silver and the black are going to be to control the TVs. Both of them control both TVs, which can be a little funny because if you're trying to change the channel on one TV, you might accidentally change the channel on the other TV too, because they're in very close proximity to each other. I think the most important remote control that we have is this white one here, which does control the thermostat in the room. There's not one that's going to be on the wall. When we first got into the room, I would guess that it was about 85 degrees. It was sweltering hot in here, and it took us a while to try to figure it out because everything is in Japanese. Again, no English at all. We had to use Google Translate to translate what the buttons were saying and then even what the screen is saying. But we have been able to get it to stay at a pretty comfortable temperature so far. This table too is also where we were able to have our lunch. So we're traveling in the winter months, and this is going to be the slow time, and we definitely see that there's not a lot of people on the ferry at all. And in the winter months, they close their fine dining restaurant called The Grill. But what's nice is that included in the cost of your ticket is also going to be your lunch and your dinner, and that comes as room service. So that was a complete surprise to us, but they did put on a good spread. So we had miso soup, we had an egg custard, and then fresh sushi type a lunch with rice. So that was great, and then a mochi, I guess, dessert you could say. So the person who delivered it was wonderful, and he actually was the only person we've encountered so far that spoke some English, so that was nice. There's a TV right across from the couch, and then obviously we have this huge window and this very exciting balcony, which was one of the reasons that we booked it. And I'm sure that in the summer months, it's pretty fun to sit out here on the furniture that they provide. I am going to be brave for the sake of the video and go out there just so you can see what it feels like outside. You don't want to spend a lot of time out here. The table and the chairs are bolted down, so you can't move them, which is for their benefit too. We're in Japan to go skiing, so we knew it would be cold. And we're going to Hokkaido, where we know it's definitely colder too. And now probably the best feature of this entire room is going to be the bathroom. And if you know me, you know I love baths, and so you can actually take a bath with a window on this ferry. So that's pretty amazing. I have water in it right now because I've already enjoyed taking a bubble bath already. But it's great because it's connected to the shower, so you can shower off after you're done showering. What's nice is they have it set up more like a Japanese onsen type of shower where the nozzle is lower, but there is an opportunity to raise that up higher to take a more Western shower. They have the seat where you can sit on, and even the bucket where you can pour the water over your head. Also in the bathroom is a single sink. Inside of the shower, they do provide you with body wash, conditioner, and shampoo, but there is no lotion. So I did have to dig out my own lotion after my bath because the water does feel pretty drying on the skin. A huge, large sink, a hairdryer that's included, and then lots of little amenities that are here. So a toothbrush, hairbrush, those type of things they'll provide for you. And then right here in this little closet, you have your very own toilet room. And this is a Toto Smart Toilet, which is great. Can't get better than that. So overall, we are loving the room. We're loving the experience a lot. I would definitely recommend that if you're coming to Japan and you are looking, how do I get from Tokyo up to Hokkaido, maybe for skiing, try it in the off months, because we're having a good time so far, and we're looking forward to dinner, to finding the karaoke bar and the game room right now, and seeing what we can do to pass the time on this 19-hour trip. All right, so it is about 5:18 and we are waiting for our room service dinner to come to us. We're just watching some TV. We're probably about a little bit close to halfway through the journey so far, and I wanted to take some time to share with you some tips that I have about this process. We did find that there wasn't a lot of great information in English for this particular type of travel, but we're really enjoying ourselves, so it would be fun if more people got the opportunity to do that. So first of all, we bought our tickets online, and that process was straightforward enough. You make a reservation, and then within a few days you have to actually pay for the reservation. So it's actually 2 steps. Make the reservation, step 2, pay for the reservation. And that wasn't anything that was too challenging to do. Google Translate was something that was able to accommodate the process quite easily. We did choose the suite room just because it seemed like the right thing to do. So cost per person was about $288. And this is at the end of 2024. So it could be less or more depending on the yen conversion rate, but we did find that to be an extreme value, because in that it includes our hotel room for the night, and then also travel, like, so to get from Niigata on the big island. What's the big island called again? Honshu, where Tokyo is located, up to Hokkaido, which is a smaller island, because we're going for a ski vacation. So just to recap, we took a Shinkansen, a bullet train from Tokyo Station to Niigata. That couldn't have been easier. We stayed the night in Niigata, had a wonderful time there. We actually want to go back and spend more time in Niigata because it was a great town. And then got on the ferry today about midday, around noon. So highly recommend that process, and I'll kind of take you through some tips. So book the tickets again online. And then we were provided with an email. We did print out our email, which I do think was beneficial, because we just handed the lady the reservation number and she was able to do the rest. We had to provide our passports also. The one thing that we did notice in Niigata is that English is not widely spoken, which is fine. It's their country, and we should learn as much of their language as possible. But English was not readily available in the ferry terminal or even on the ferry, so keep that in mind. So having the reservation number printed out ahead of time is a good thing, and then just have them your reservation number and then also your passports, and that's easy peasy. They'll issue you a card that has a QR code on it, and that's how you actually access your room, and that's also the thing that they scan to get you on to the ferry. Boarding couldn't have been easier. We're traveling in wintertime, which is the slow time of the year, and from what I gathered, it does get quite busy during the summertime, New Year's, times like that. So, this definitely is just talking about for the winter time. So boarding was really straightforward. Boarding's on the 2nd floor, so you just can walk up the stairs or take an elevator, and then you just wait, and then they'll make the announcement that the ferry is boarding. Announcements are not made in English at all, so we have really no idea what they were saying the entire time. We just got on the ferry when everybody else started getting on the ferry, which seemed to work out just fine. We're here and we're happy. For our suite, we're on the 6th floor, so we knew that going into it, and we also had looked at the layout of the ship, so we kind of knew which direction to go, so we found our way to our room easily enough. If you're booking some other type of room, you may want to ahead of time research where is it on the boat, so that you know that. Now, we were going from Niigata up to Otaru, so we elected to stay on the starboard side so that we had sight of land the entire time, which was useful, because the seas have been a little bit rough. You can definitely feel this boat moving more than any other ferry boat that I've ever been on before, so be prepared for that. We both took some anti-seasickness, nausea medication, but we're both feeling fine, so don't worry too much about that, I would say. So check-in starts 1 hour. If you listen to the email that they send you, it says that check-in starts 1 hour before the ferry departure. So currently the schedule is that the ferry leaves at noon. So we decided to get here at 11. We got here right about 11. We took a ferry from the Crown Plaza in Niigata. It was about a 10-minute taxi ride, about 1,500 yen or $10 to get here, and got here right at 11 o'clock. We checked in and we're through that process. There was no wait in line at all. Maybe like there was one person ahead of us. That was it. We're given our boarding passes and then went up to the second level. Boarding for pedestrians starts for today at 11:15. So we were actually able to get on the boat very quickly after we got to the ferry terminal. There's not a lot of facilities. The ferry terminal itself is in a very industrial area, so I wouldn't recommend trying to like walk with your bags and things. Definitely take the taxi. We did have enough time to check out the convenience shop that was there, which is fun. It has some knickknacks and souvenirs that are there, but also wine and beverages are available there to bring on board, and then also some snacks. And I do recommend stocking up on those, because either beforehand or at the convenience store at the ferry terminal, because everything is very limited on the boat in the winter season. We were on the boat at 11:15, pretty much sharp, that everything runs on time, and got settled in, dropped off our bags, and then browsed around the ship, and were able to see the departure, which is worth doing. There is an aft deck that's on floor five, that is worth going and being there for the departure, because you can see both the starboard and the port side from that. And so you get views of leaving Niigata downtown center city, and then views of the more rural areas. So I would definitely recommend that. One of the things that we do have to say though is that they do have free Wi-Fi on the ship, but it's horrible. So neither of us have been able to successfully hook up to it yet. So don't rely on that. You're not going to have any Wi-Fi. And so even like Google Translate, unless you fully download the Japanese language, it's not going to be there to assist you. And that can be challenging because English is not translated here. So all the documents, all of the announcements, all the menus, everything is only in Japanese. There's not an English translation. It hasn't been a problem for us so far, but it's worth knowing that going into it. My husband has had his cellular service on the whole time and has been able to get a signal here and there. Again, we're about halfway through the trip, so his signal is just now starting to drop off. So the first half of the trip, you should be okay using your cell signal if you're doing that, but don't count on the Wi-Fi for anything. It's not going to allow you to do anything. Download books, podcasts, movies, anything you want ahead of time, because you're not going to have access to that on board. And the TV, everything, nothing is translated in English, so it'll be a very authentic experience. We've had a lot of fun looking at the sumo, so I do recommend that. Yeah, so that's that tip. One thing that I do say though is download everything, and this was actually on my packing list and I didn't find enough time to do it. But if you have a computer that you're bringing with you, bring an HDMI cable, because both of the TVs in our room have a readily available HDMI hookup. I'll actually show you what the one in the living room looks like, so that you can hook it up to the TV, which is really convenient. But I have an Apple AirBook, and so I have to get another connector cable that I didn't have. So anyways, that's a good way to download some entertainment so that you have something to do once the lights go off. There is a kind of like curfew or lights off time on the boat that's at 2200 hours, so that would be at 10 o'clock at night. And then the ferry is scheduled to get into Otaru very early. It's at 4:30. We did stop by the information desk and were able to communicate. Again, very limited English. We have very limited Japanese with the host there, and he did let us know that as foot passengers, we need to be off of the ferry by 4:50, so you can't stay on longer. So those would be our tips so far, and I'll add some as the night goes on. We're sitting here waiting for our dinner, and we're looking forward to that. We're planning on going and looking at or doing the onsen, because they have an outdoor onsen, which is worth doing. I already peeked in there, and it sounds like fun to like sit in an onsen in the middle of the Japan Sea. And then we also are planning on, what else were we planning on doing?
Karaoke.
Oh yeah, we're planning on doing karaoke. 1,000 yen for karaoke. We'll let you know how that goes with private rooms. Sounds like a lot of fun. But yeah, that's it. We'll update you as an evening goes on and as the trip goes on, but definitely been a lot of fun so far. This is our suite room service that they delivered to us. It looks amazing. We'll let you know how it is, but it looks like this is sashimi. This is different types of pickled vegetables, I believe. Tempura. It looks like that's some sort of a steamed dumpling. This looks like it's a salad with something that looks like prosciutto, but I don't really know. And then this looks like things off of the grill. And then this looks like miso soup again, which was really good before, so I'm not mad about that. And then just some rice, and then the dessert. So we gave our room service attendant a teppanyaki, which is a gift from our country to his, and it was a baseball pin. And he came back and he gave us a gift, which is a postcard of the train. And then he also saw the fact that we were drinking our sake out of our tea glasses. So then he brought us our own sake glasses. And those aren't souvenirs, but it was still very sweet. Yeah. Kanpai.
Can't get enough of your love, babe.
Tim's request.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yes. I've heard people say that too much of anything is not good for you, baby, but I don't know about that. As many times as we've loved, we've shared love, and made love, it doesn't seem to me like it's enough. It's just not enough. It's just not enough.
You are not supposed to count, but there's nobody else here, so that's the only reason why I'm doing that. Just shows you what the women's onsen on the ferry looks like. So you have the classic, I guess, onsen stalls that you look at, the little seat that you sit on, and the bucket that you pour over your head. The onsen, which is essentially like a jacuzzi. This one over here, I believe is a little bit cooler. Hi. A little bit cooler, no bubbles. And then through here is a really beautiful sauna that I was just in, and it felt so hot. I mean, it's a stunning sauna, to be fair. But the highlight of the entire onsen experience is outside. And this is legitimately outside. Like, you have nothing but fairyland or ocean land above you. Still not a lot of stars though, I think, because the ferries now have flights. But what's funny is when you're in here, you can feel the movement and the waves of the boat a lot more, I think, than when you're just normally in there. So you can see it like bopping back and forth. But inside of close that, inside of the locker, and the lockers you pay 100 yen, and then you get the 100 yen back at the end, so it's more like a deposit. But there's also those are my slippers, so I just wore my slippers from my room. You pay 100 yen into the locker, and then it gives it back to you, but you just store your goods in there while you're in the onsen. But everything's people are very honest here. There is a vending machine here if you feel like you need more water. It's there for you. But I would highly recommend coming here and visiting at this while you're on the ferry. I'm gonna put my slippers back on. I'm in a suite, so I have a robe and slippers, and that's the way I came to. So we are just docking in Otaru up in Hokkaido. It's super cold. I think it's like 22 degrees outside and a little windy, so it's a little chillier than that. The boat's currently docking at the ferry terminal in Otaru, and we're just waiting for them to let foot passengers off. It looks like they're still tying up the lines. It's very early, so it's 4:30 in the morning, which would definitely be a downside of taking the ferry from Niigata up to Otaru, is that it gets in so early, and they actually wake you up at 3:30. with music and then an endless stream of announcements. So we're looking forward to getting to our hotel and going back to bed.